me to tell you a little story about a guy named Barry. Well, Barry is a giver. Barry is a wonderful person, right? He is often described as always being there for other people. When they need to move, Barry's there to help. To move the heavy stuff like the washing machine and the cabinets and the bed and the mattress and all that nonsense. Whenever people are in financial trouble, Barry's like, don't worry about it, mate. Here's 100. Go do your groceries. And no, I don't want it back. I don't ask anything in return. I'm just happy to help, right? And Barry gets invited to watch the game on Sunday, have a couple of beers, and just enjoy a couple of hours with his friends, or at least that's how he sees these people. And it's great, People are very grateful to Barry. But look at it from Barry's perspective. He's giving everything he has to these people who he perceives as his friends. But what's really going on in that regard? What's really going on is that Barry is approaching this from a very different angle than the people who actually are asking him to do all this stuff. And it takes Barry a long time to realize that these people, they don't ask Barry, how are you, Barry? How are you feeling? They ask, Barry, are you available? I hope you are, because I really need something from you. That is the sad truth of Barry. He systematically gets used and misused by people, because to Barry it's a friendship. To Barry it's, I like these people and they like me, and it works because I'm doing all this stuff and it makes them happy, and it makes me happy that I can make them happy. To these people it's like, I'm so glad Barry is here, not because he's such a great friend or so fun to hang out with. Barry has a function that he performs without complaining, without hesitating. He just gives me what I want anytime I want it. And I like that. I like the fact that Barry does whatever he does for my benefit. And after many years, or however long it takes for Barry to realize, could be a year, could be two, could be a decade or longer, Barry is finally so tired and drained and used up, because he's slowly starting to realize that he's just giving a lot and not getting a lot back. And that's when Barry realizes he's been wasting his time on people that are basically classified as vampires. Whether it's energy vampires or dopamine vampires or whatever, it doesn't matter. He is consumed by these vampires because he gives and all they do is take. And how did they find him? Well, vampires are hungry. They're on the hunt. They want to find someone like Barry who will just give them everything they want. His energy, his time, his devotion, his loyalty, his friendship, his care. And he does it freely, because to Barry, these are his friends. He has a bond with these people. And to those people, Barry is nothing more than a convenient tool that's always around. So eventually Barry gets very tired, and he gets very drained, and Barry has to make the hardest decision he's ever made, and that's to say, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. And then they say, but Barry, you've been doing this for an entire decade. And Barry is like, I know, and I was happy to do so, but I'm just so used up. Oh, come on, Barry, just one more thing. And they try to make Barry feel guilty and try to try to get him to do what he always does anyway. And then they might get angry at Barry for no longer providing the service that he once did, because Barry is absolutely fucking tired at this point. So eventually Barry has to make the difficult decision to leave. And Barry decides he's not going to worry about this anymore. And Barry is taking a break. So Barry goes home. And Barry doesn't answer their calls anymore. Barry doesn't answer their emails. Barry doesn't engage with them on social media anymore. Barry doesn't give them money, doesn't help them move, doesn't hang out with them on a Sunday for the game. Doesn't attend the annual barbecue anymore either. Doesn't even say hello when they meet at the grocery store. Everything has changed. And these people are desperate to get back into Barry's good graces. But Barry is so tired that he refuses. He's just not interested anymore. Barry needs a rest. So Barry looks into, alright, I've spent so much time on these people. Now I want to meet other people, but how do I do that? So Barry tries to, very casually, be open to other people. And he ends up meeting a second group of people. And they seem nice enough. They don't ask Barry to do anything, even though Barry does offer a little bit more hesitantly and definitely not as openly as he used to be. But he's like, all right, I can probably, every now and then I can do something for these people, and they'll appreciate it, and they do. But to Barry, Barry's found like people who aren't like immediately using and misusing him. So to Barry, this is paradise. These are actually decent people that seem to care and that don't use him. That don't go constantly like, oh yeah, you need to do a certain thing, like help us move or give us money or something. So Barry's doing great, but what ends up happening is, say, a couple of weeks, a month, perhaps 2 months, he sees the contact slowly fall apart, because Barry then realizes he's the only one who's keeping that contact going. If he doesn't do anything, if he just sits there and minds his own business, does whatever he wants, then the other person that he met, unlike the vampires that keep coming back for more of what they want from Barry, these people don't come back at all. Why not? Because they don't care. They do not see Barry as a friend. They see Barry as a temporary, discardable, disposable thing. And eventually it turns from a couple of weeks to like a month, 2 months, half a year. Soon Barry only attends the annual barbecue and nothing else. And then Barry and them exchange Christmas cards, and that's all they do. And after a couple of years, even the Christmas cards stop coming, because Barry one point forgot to send a Christmas card, and the other people also did not send Barry one. And even though Barry has sent a Christmas card every year since, he's never gotten one back. And every time they meet at the grocery store, Barry's like, oh, hello, nice to see you. How are you doing? And they're like, oh, we're fine. Yeah, just, busy working and all that. And Barry's like, you want to do something? You want to hang out on Sunday and watch the game, have a couple of beers? And they're like, yeah, I mean, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, we're actually quite busy right now. We're actually have plans for Sunday. Oh, all right, how about next Sunday? No, we got plans for next Sunday either. And in fact, we're actually busy on every single Sunday of the year, to be honest, because we like to do things. It's like Mary's like, oh, all right, yeah, I understand. That's all right. Well, maybe some other time then. All right. And Barry goes home. And that's when Barry realizes that is the rest of the world, basically. Because he's been trying multiple times like that. And then he finds out that normal people, like the majority of the world, are like that. They treat everything as, well, it's fun for a while, but if it doesn't last, no harm done. It happens. I don't care. I'm not looking for a long-term connection. And while it's not as predatory as the vampires, it is an equally negative, unfortunate fate for Barry. A person who gives everything, a person who has a lot of integrity and loyalty and care to give, has a lot of love to give to people. And he's not even doing all of the stuff that he does to be liked or to be wanted or to feel at home somewhere. He's doing it because that's how he is. That is Barry. Barry is honest and genuine. Barry is just Barry. And people like Barry because he fulfills a function. Barry is generous. Barry gives money. Barry gives entertainment. Barry gives company. Barry gives whatever else Barry might give. His assistance, his advice. Barry may even give his body if that's the sort of relationship that that he wants with them and they want with him. You know? It all depends. But as long as everyone is comfortable, Barry will happily give. With the exception that Barry sees it as an actual friendship, as a bond, as special moments built up with special friends over the years. While vampires see him as a tool, as a means to an end, as a means to gain what they want. And normal people, they just see Barry as just there, you know? Yes, he's a friend, but he's not that much of a friend. He's just some guy, you know? And if they were to lose Barry for whatever reason, like they decided to just not invest anymore, and then Barry is the one left at home wondering what happened. What did he do wrong? Why aren't they calling anymore? Why don't they want to hang out with Barry anymore? But the people who left Barry, they don't give a shit. They don't even give two thoughts on how Barry might be feeling or how Barry might be doing. And that is the very sad reality of Barry, is that Barry is now sitting at home, forced to choose one of three options to live his life. Option number one, stay at home, be alone. It's lonely as hell, but it's safe. No one is coming in there to try and hurt him, to try and treat him as a disposable, discardable person or some tool to get something from. It is the safest option for Barry, even though the loneliness is crushing. Option number two, Barry has to change, or at least perform, if not change his entire personality. He has to perform like normal people do. That he doesn't care about people, that he doesn't care about forming long-lasting connections, that he only cares about temporary, discardable connections. A friendship that's not really a friendship. That goes against everything that Barry stands for as a person, everything that Barry is as a person. And then there's option three. Be himself. Project himself into the world as he was, as he's always done. I am here. I'm Barry, and I'm here to give you my loyalty, my friendship, my care, my love, my whatever you need. I am just that kind of person. And who does he attract? Vampires. Vampires are always on the hunt for someone like Barry. And even though Barry now recognizes these vampires and how they operate, he will only meet vampires. Or at least he meets them first, and the moment he does, he closes the door again, because he knows that these people are circling around his house, basically, metaphorically. And they know, he knows that he will attract these vampires with being himself. So he has to choose a life of loneliness and safety, a life of performance and not caring, which goes against everything that Barry is. Or he has to choose to become a tool for a battery for energy vampires, dopamine vampires, and whatever else vampires, because they only see Barry as a tool. Well, Barry is a person that's alive, a person with his own needs at once, and a person who feels greatly neglected and um, left behind, left to rot by himself in a world that doesn't appreciate him, in a world where there's no real space for him. You might be wondering, why doesn't Barry just meet someone, try to meet someone like him? Well, that's the thing. Other people like Barry have also been burnt. Other people like Barry, they're kind of rare. And they've been burnt as well. They've also gone through all this, where nothing ever sticks because people are either normal and don't care, or they're vampires that drain them to the core and make them not want to interact with anyone. So he doesn't get to meet people that are of the same mindset. And even if Barry does get some motivation and some energy to actually go out and actually do something where there happen to be other people, say Barry goes to a concert, or Barry goes to, I don't know, he goes to a game, he goes to watch a game of soccer, or he's going to, I don't know, he's going to I don't want to call it a seminar. No, it's one of those courses, like, Barry wants to learn French, so he goes to a place like that hosts French lessons every now and then, like once a month or twice a month. They get together with a small group, with a teacher and a couple of students who signed up for it, and they learn French, you know. And even if Barry does get a bit of energy in order to do that, yes, he does it mostly for himself. There's always this tiny bit inside of Barry that's nagging him to, that's nagging at him, that's eating at him. Like, what if one of these people? What if we could be friends? Perhaps. Barry doesn't dare engage, because normal people, they will not care. Vampires will be clinging to him, and he will recognize that immediately and shut that right down. But other people that are very, how you call, low energy and drained and careful and hesitant, like Barry, they're not going to approach Barry. They're not going to approach Barry with, hey, I see you, what kind of person you are. I see how much you're struggling. Would you like to maybe struggle together every now and then? Barry does not get that offer, because it's too scary for those people to actually approach Barry. Because what if Barry's a normal person or a vampire, right? They don't know. And Barry is not comfortable enough to be fully himself, because he learned from experience that he is too much for the normal people. Because when normal people see, like, you have to invest, they want to take it slow. You have to invest. Barry has to invest years of his life trying to get to know these normal people, because they like to take it slow. They act like they have infinite time to get to know someone. And Barry has to potentially waste another decade of his life on someone that might not even be worth it. Someone that might just, drop out, like, whenever they choose, because they don't care. Right? So Barry's not going to do that. Barry wants someone to come up to him and say, hey, I see you. We're of the same mindset, you and I. We're built out of the same marble. And I'll happily be your friend. Basically for the remainder of your life. Will you be my friend? In the same way. Barry would accept in a heartbeat. And if that was genuine from both sides, perfect. That's not going to happen. At least the chances of that happening are very rare. And that is why Barry will probably, the chances of Barry meeting someone like that is extremely rare, right? Because the majority of the people are either normal and don't care, or they're vampires that are going to use him. And it is a very painful and lonely existence that has been plaguing Barry for the majority of his life. Probably even all of his life, in a world that doesn't understand him, a world that's not for him, and just trying to survive, basically. And Barry had made a connection about 10, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, where he thought he had a best friend, he had a soul bond, Not necessarily in a romantic way or in a I want to be with you forever kind of way, but it was very close and it was very personal as well. And Barry being himself, he finally felt, you know, okay enough to actually, show more of himself and be the giving Barry that he is, the generator basically. Barry is the generator, and Barry's always been the generator. And then he is effectively opening up to his best friend basically, the one who was very close to. And over time they get to know each other very well, and they have a lot of fun together. But over the years they also have a lot of conflict together. They also there were definitely a number of things that didn't add up, and that definitely felt off and wrong, which upset Barry and hurt Barry, and especially not getting any answers and not getting any clarity on the situation. And eventually it turned out that after 11 years, it turned out that Barry was indeed feeding a dopamine vampire that didn't care about him, that didn't want to improve their own life, just wanted to use Barry as an endless source of entertainment and validation and all of that, which left Barry very drained. Barry is now forced to lock himself up in his own home, his own prison cell, not because he wants to be here, because this is the only place where Barry can exist without being used and misused by other people, and not be rejected by other people, and not be treated with disrespect, and not be treated like he doesn't matter, or he matters only in a negative way that only benefits somebody else. And that is why Barry is here. It's a safe space, but it's also small, claustrophobic, dark, and lonely. And it is very difficult for Barry, as he doesn't really have a means of escape. His only means, that's the thing, Barry's not trapped here. Barry is free to leave whenever he wants, but this is what he sees when he leaves. Not this. This is what he sees. Anything or anyone can just run into him at any point. And there's nothing he can do about it. Barry doesn't know where he's going. He has a little light which he can try to navigate down the stairs, perhaps elsewhere. But that's all. Barry doesn't know where he's going. That's the sad part of Barry. Just does not know where he's going. Barry is trying really hard to navigate, but Barry doesn't know where to go. There's no one around. There's no one to tell Barry where to go. There's no one to tell Barry what to do. In fact, even though he tries to turn on the lights, he turns out the lights are not even working. Barry can't find the breaker either, because he doesn't know where it is. So Barry is left with having to be alone, and having to try and figure out where to go. And since he can't, the only way Barry can go is back to where he belongs. Is back to where the only place where Barry can be safe and where he can actually see. Because it's true, wherever Barry goes, Barry doesn't know where to find these people that actually resonate with him, the people that are similar to him. Barry only knows how to find vampires, which are basically everywhere. And Barry knows where to find the normal people that don't care. Barry doesn't know how to find these other people because they're notoriously hard to find. They're in private Discord servers or something, or they're in, other places. And that's the thing. Barry sees all these people around, these normal people, brag about the fact that, oh look, I'm doing this one thing, and it's amazing because I met so many friends and so many awesome people, lovely people, helpful people, nice people through these communities, and it's the best ever. And Barry just looks at it with a heavy sigh and just a head shake and just kind of like, are you kidding me? You're just sitting there bragging about the fact that you don't care. You're a normal person. and you don't care about any of this, and yet you get rewarded with all of that low interaction energy, that low to mid interaction energy, where you just don't have to do much. And it's like, yeah, you just have to go somewhere and do some things. Like, you know, they end up playing, I don't know, they end up playing a video game, and all of a sudden he has a bunch of friends, and he has like a 5 stack to jump into Rainbow Six Siege with, or survive with friends in Dead by Daylight, or whatever else. A full squad in Warframe, or full team in League of Legends or something. And, you know, they don't even have to do anything. It doesn't even have to last, because they don't care. As long as it's fun for like even one match, it's been worth it. Barry wants to build up an entire relationship with these people, because Barry is sick of having to hold back. Barry is sick of having to be lonely and having to be alone, because his energy, his I'm all in, scares people. It scares people off because it's too much, too fast, too close, too intimate, too much everything. But that's just how Barry operates in a world that doesn't appreciate him. Barry is a real person in a world of fake people, where people are constantly performing and constantly lying and manipulating and everything to get what they want. And the people that get used and abused and misused and drained like Barry, and hurt like Barry, and forced to withdraw like Barry, they're all withdrawn in their own little private circle, and they'll never meet anyone else like them. And they're wondering, is it me? Am I like Barry? Barry's wondering, is it me? Am I just bad? Am I just a bad person? I've tried so hard to be everything. I've tried so hard to be good to people. I've tried to be giving. I've tried to be caring. I've tried to be loving. Because that's how I am. That's how I want to be. And the world just doesn't appreciate it. The world just doesn't want that. The world wants me to be uncaring, or abused, or alone. And Barry starts to question himself. Is it me? Is there something wrong with me? Is it bad to be this way? Do I have to be uncaring? Do I have to be manipulative? Do I have to be a scumbag? Do I have to be alone? Is it me? That's what Barry wonders. And Barry wonders if he's the only one who feels this way, because Barry doesn't get to see these other people that might feel the same way, because they're also hiding. They're also limited to their own, or maybe even choosing to be in their own space, where it's just them and maybe a few trusted others, but definitely not a lot. On people who also don't go onto social media anymore. People who don't use other people when they're bored, or when they want something. And but that's the thing. They don't feel the need to exclaim that they're there, because that signals to all the vampires, hey, the dinner bell's ringing. Come on, let's go drain this person. Barry gets that, but Barry also feels very sad, because that is the reality of Barry's world, and probably the worlds of many others as well. Worlds of people that he never gets to see. Makes Barry very sad. And now here's the kicker. I am Barry. I am Barry. This entire story is about me. This is what it's like to be me. And that is why I'm creating the stuff that I do. I do not filter. I do not perform. If I do perform, it is like I did now, it's to make a point. Or if I do a silly little voice or a role for like a little video or something, it's with the intent of making that, of using my voice acting, for example. I like doing that. I like playing characters. That doesn't mean I'm not genuine. But I do that with specific purposes. For example, I played Obsidio for an entire video while playing as Sartorius from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Why? Because I like the character and I like the voice. Maddie Blaustein, amazing job. R.I.P. But if you look at all these other YouTubers, right? I'm not saying everyone is like that, but a lot of them, they perform, they overact, all for the algorithm. It becomes a job, it becomes you know, a thing, and I find that to be very disingenuous and very just maybe even a little offensive, to be honest, because it's like I just can't vibe with that. Someone who has spent their entire like YouTube career for the last 10 years maybe playing horror games. And that's fine, if you like playing horror games, you play horror games, but these people just constantly do overreacting screams and stuff, and it's just it's like me, for example, I sit here and a ghost appears. I may be startled for a moment, but I will just go, "Hi, how are you? Yes, I'm having a talk." These people, they will overact. They will go like, "Ah, ghost! Oh no, leave me alone! I'm gonna do that." I'm like, come on! Like, you've been playing Phasmophobia for the last 10 years. Come on, there's no way you're that scared. I mean, come on. And I just find that to be very annoying. I don't do that. I don't perform in such a way. That's why I do what I do. I have a raw, genuine, unfiltered space here. Um, where I just do what I do. I share my passions. I don't care about the algorithm. I don't care about monetization. I don't care about overacting and appealing to what is currently popular or what is currently liked or whatever. I'm just doing me, and I would encourage everyone else to do the same thing. I know not everyone else is going to do that. Oh, and that's the end of my lighter. But I'm not going to encourage everyone else to do the same way, but I mean, I would encourage that. I know that not everyone is going to, because it's really up to them. But it is why I do what I do. It is why I work on my project as well. My project is, I'm not going to say much about it, because I like to work on it in peace, outside of, everyone's vision and everyone's opinion and everyone's expectation. But I'm working on something that involves characters and stories, real characters and real stories. Yes, real imaginary characters and with real imaginary stories, and sometimes in real imaginary dangers. Really, really, to use a quote. But I write this stuff because it is stuff that I miss. It is stuff that I don't have in this world. It is stuff that I don't know how to get in this world. And yes, some of the stories are tragic, some of the stories are happy, some of the stories are funny, some of the stories are heartwarming or heartbreaking. It's all resonating in a certain way, and that's also why I enjoy the shows that I do and the other media and games and stuff that I like to see and play. I love Mass Effect because it has a very powerful story with characters that actually feel real. Same thing with Undertale or Deltarune or even certain like things in like Suikoden 5 or Suikoden 2 or stuff like that. I really enjoy that sort of stuff. That's why I enjoy. I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, you all know that I am a brony. I mean, that's why I enjoy My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, because it nearly offers a blueprint for how to be a decent friend, or even a good friend. And you know how incredibly painful it is to sit here and to. I mean, it's heartwarming and it's hopeful, but it's also a bit heartbreaking to know that characters like, Twilight Sparkle, Rainbow Dash, Applejack, you name it, all those characters, they will only exist in fiction, because they will never be real. And I'm totally aware of that, and I'm okay with that. That is how it is. But it's kind of sad that the real world is built in the way that it is, where vampires and normal people that don't give a shit thrive, whereas people with integrity, with a lot to give, like me, whether they're creative or not, they get left behind. They get ignored. They get used because we care too much. And that's why people like me often end up getting lost in the narration of these stories of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, of Littlest Pet Shop, of Undertale, Deltarune, you name it. Things with things with actual feeling, things with actual emotion, things with actual stories, things with substance, things with integrity. That's why we're drawn to that, because that's the stuff that we're not getting in real life. We have to get our fulfillment from creations, either by other people or by ourselves or from ourselves. That's why people flock to things like a chicken nugget, for example, because it offers a very nice little wholesome thing for people to watch and enjoy. You know, I get it. It's a nice little safe space that people like, and I understand that. I get it. And of course, it's going to be different for everybody what exactly they will enjoy or resonate with. But I get it. You know, and that's why I am such a creative soul, and that's why, or maybe have always been a creative soul, and that's why I'm so miserable right now. But yeah, it really feels like I'm one of the only actual real people in a fake world, in a world of non-caring and abusing and using and manipulating, and yeah, my choices are either to be alone or to be drained until I'm dead, or have to not give a shit. Um, and yeah, that's why my social circle has always been very slow, and that's why I don't get along with most people, because most people, they either are vampires or they don't want anything. They're usually just bored, have like a very short attention span, and basically are fulfilling a little temporary niche, and then you can basically fuck off. That's literally, the only use I have to people most of the time, if anything. And I know it's scary for people to be like, hey, to have someone go up to them and be like, hey, I basically want to be your close friend for a long period of time. Because to me, that is like the ultimate, like, yes. But to them, it's like, oh no, that's way too much. Because they don't want that. And you know what? It works for them. It's easier to find a plethora of people that are fine with being temporary and discardable, and to find people that just want to use you and drain you dry. That's the reality. If you want to find someone like me, if someone like me wants to find another person who is like me, they're not gonna find it unless they get lucky somehow. Because where do you go? Like, who knows? These people may actually be living like across from you, from where you live. May even be your neighbor. Who knows? Maybe someone you already know, someone you've encountered while grocery shopping or while at work or something. But you won't know because you don't dare to go out anymore and to be yourself, because you've learned being yourself is bad in the eyes of the world. So you just stay alone, and you'll never know. Same thing here. I mean, I wasted 11 years on my what I perceive to be a bond with my best friend slash editor, and it turns out that I was the only one who saw it as a bond. I was the only one who saw it as a friendship. To him, I was just a it was just a source of dopamine, just a source of services, where I ended up most days just having to spend my time with him, and having to do what he wants. Because to him, it's all it was all a diversion, all a distraction. None of it was, by using grand words like bond and care and love and everything, he made it sound incredibly like serious. But it wasn't. I mean, it was, but only to me. But I'm all drained now, I'm all vampired out, and I basically held up the garlic and I said, no more. And I said, I set a boundary. I said, be a decent human being for once. If you can do that, we'll see about the rest. We'll see about your dopamine, basically. I didn't call it dopamine, but yeah, like we don't have to like stop doing anything, but first I need to know that you can be accountable for your behavior. and that you can actually be a decent person. Actually ask me how I am rather than are you available? Um, are you available for me to drain? Um, so I did that. And from that moment on, he started ignoring me. He was online all the time. And unlike normal, he refused to speak to me. I was the only one who everything had to come from me. It was a stupid little power play on his part. He was hovering over Messenger and stuff because he was hoping that I would crack, but I didn't. And at that point, I painfully realized it didn't matter. I was just there to provide a service, nothing else. And this is not just the only thing, of course. Over the last 11 years, I've noticed a lot of other things that were bad about it and that were incompatible, and just him using me, basically. Because that's what you get when someone is manipulative, someone has a very low self-esteem and low self-worth, and is entirely dependent on other people because for their entertainment and their dopamine fix, because they have no real discipline or integrity or anything to manage their own lives. He's the kind of person who will start a keto diet like a million times and stop it after a week or two because he just doesn't have the discipline to keep it up. And then after a couple of months, he starts complaining about how he hates being overweight. And it's like, then do something about it. But he doesn't. He tries and then he fails because he just stops. That's also a decision he makes. That kind of thing. It's, yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many new life statements I've seen from him already. This time, I'm really going to do things differently. He doesn't. And yeah. One thing I found really offensive is from a creative standpoint. He has made we have basically a shared world of creation, where we had a bunch of different characters that we made, that we made and we adopted from various franchises to kind of exist in the world, and some collaborative storytelling, some role play, etc., which is all really fun. That was definitely one of the main things that he wanted to engage with to keep himself busy and to keep his dopamine up. And from a storytelling and role-playing perspective and character progression and such, that's up my alley. I love that stuff. That's partially why I'm making my project right now. And I just like doing that in general. That's also why I love playing Dungeons and Dragons, for example. It's all about that collaborative storytelling, and it doesn't even have to be collaborative. I just love storytelling and character dialogue and all that stuff. So that's the thing. He made a couple of characters that I personally got really invested in. Like, okay, these are nice characters, friendly characters with a personality, with passion, with needs and wants, and a life, basically. And after a particular personal experience with those characters, I found out that he was already fast forwarding in his head to something else entirely. Not because he was creative or so eager to do everything. It was more or less him just trying to chase his next dopamine hit during the time where he's already chasing his current dopamine hit. It's like you're playing, say, Mass Effect 1, right? And you've just started, and you're like maybe 2 missions in, and then he already starts thinking about playing Mass Effect 2 or Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 is actually more apt in this case. He's already thinking about Dragon Age 2. And then the next time you meet, which is the next day, he's like, and you're like, yeah, that was pretty pretty special, that moment we had last night. And then he's like, yeah, it was really special. But about Dragon Age 2, yeah, we gotta, like, and then he just goes on about Dragon Age 2. And even if you indulge him in that, you're starting in Act 1. He's already thinking about Act 3, about all the stuff you're going to do in Act 3. And it's like, dude, we're still in Act 1. What are you talking about? And it's like, yeah, but Act 3. And that's like, he's already chasing his next dopamine hit while you're playing Act 1. Like, and that's just so draining. And that's when I realized this guy doesn't give a shit about story. He doesn't give a shit about his own characters. It was all just a tool for him to occupy himself, to entertain himself with. That's all it was. These are characters that I personally grew fond of and enjoyed. And enjoyed, exploring their story and spending time with and stuff. And he just did not see it the same way. He saw it as, oh, these are just discardable characters for my own, for my own purposes, for my own entertainment, for my own dopamine, for my own whatever it is that, he liked about it. I'm just going to be honest. It was partially also for his own fetishization. Fetishization. That's a difficult word to say. Yeah. I'm just going to be honest. He saw certain characters as, or maybe even all of them, as just an outlet. It's like, oh yeah, well, yes, I'm not afraid to admit it. Yes, we role played, and yes, part of it was indeed intimate. So what? I'm alone here anyway. Who am I going to do anything with if not online? I just told you, I'm stuck with either being alone or being with energy vampires and dopamine vampires, or stuck with normal people who don't give a shit about you. None of them are going to do anything of the sort, so online is basically the only option, and that's fine. I'm not afraid to admit it, and that's fine. If that is something that you feel like you want to do or feel like you need, it's just healthy to have an outlet for it, even if it's online, even if it's long distance, even if it's digital. Hell, if you want to roleplay with an AI bot, you can. It's never going to be as perfect or as satisfying as role playing with a human, but it serves a purpose. And the fact is, you're not hurting anybody with it. The bot doesn't have feelings yet. AI doesn't have feelings yet, and at that point, you're fine to do that, and that's the thing. He only saw it as entertainment, while I saw it as actual living, breathing characters in a world, in a creative world that we created together. But he never appreciated it. So I actually took some of his characters that I really resonated with out of that situation. I liberated them from a person who doesn't deserve them, who doesn't see them as more than just toys and tools for his own entertainment. I don't. I see them as actual characters that we spend time and energy on, and that I actually feel something for. It's like putting Commander Shepard or something in a game where it's all about just shooting and just killing, and that's it. That's all Commander Shepard would do in that game. Just beep pew, beep pew, beep pew, reloading, beep pew, beep pew, beep pew, reloading. Oh, grenade out, boom, beep pew, and that's it. That's all Commander Shepard does. And I agree, it's part of what Commander Shepard does. But imagine Commander Shepard without all the dialogues, without the I should go, without the story of having to save the galaxy from the Reapers. Without any of that, Commander Shepard is just a dude in power armor with an assault rifle just shooting things. And that's it. It's part of what he does, but it's so shallow and hollow. Because that is what the energy vampires and all the other people only care about, is that one part of Commander Shepard. They don't care about Commander Shepard's story, or about the bonds that he forms with Garrus or Tali or Liara. They don't care about that. They only care about the fact that Commander Shepard, 1, he shoots people, 2, he has cool powers, and 3, he romances people, aka he bangs aliens. That's all they care, or he or she, I should say. But that's all they care about. That's all that someone like my former friend slash editor would care about. You know, not me though. I see these characters as actual living, breathing characters that actually have a story and a life and a story to tell, right? And that's why I liberated them from him because he does not deserve them. And I'm actually giving them a home where they belong and where they can grow and where they can actually be treated like actual characters rather than just a punchline or rather than just a dopamine fix. I found that so insulting that characters that I grew fond of, characters that were frequent appearances in our stories, weren't stories to him at all. They were just a dopamine rush. And that was just so insulting. So I'm reclaiming those characters and giving them an actual story. They're not part of my project, but that doesn't matter. They deserve to be with someone who actually appreciates them for who they are. Just like I deserve someone who actually appreciates me for who I am. I currently have one or two people like that. So I am. That proves that it's not me. I'm not unlovable. I'm not someone that is just an asshole. Even though it's so easy for other people to just claim that I'm just an asshole, just a dick, just a horrible person who wants things too quickly, and that's not how that works. Who gives up too quickly because people want to take it slow and become fair weather friends that don't give a shit about each other. You know, people that just want to use you and discard you, or people that just don't care enough to stay in touch with you. You know, apparently I'm a dick for wanting more, but you know, some people just want more. Some people want an actual connection and not, be discarded whenever. Not be used up whenever. Not just perform a function or a service for other people. And that's why people like me, we just dive into these games and stories and TV shows and such, and into these characters because they actually mean something. They represent something that we want but we cannot have in real life. And that is what it's like to be me. It's a very difficult road and a very difficult way to live, and a way with basically no way out. Like I said, I can walk out, but where do I go? There's nowhere to go. Option A sucks, option B sucks, and option C sucks. Well, then I'll just stay here, I guess, until I miraculously meet someone who is pretty much like me. I don't have much of a choice. But that's why I do what I do. That's why I don't accept comments. And that's why I don't engage with communities and such. Either all that much or at all, depending. Because, we've all seen YouTube. We've all seen the comment section. Like, yeah, there's some genuine support here and there, but most of the time it's a toxic cesspit. We've all been on Facebook. We've all been on Twitter. Who the hell calls it X anyway? We've all seen how toxic people can be on there. A number of us have played Dead by Daylight, and we all know what kind of toxicity goes on there, even if you're not doing anything particularly wrong. Like, I'm just playing the game, and okay, well, I die, fair enough, and then I get told by a teammate to go ensure that I'm no longer alive. Why? I have no idea. That's what you get told for not even doing anything in particular. Like, that's the kind of world, you have to live in. And it's like, yeah, that's why I tend not to read stuff anymore. Why I don't tend to read pre or post match lobby comments anymore, because it's just tiring and unnecessary and hurtful. That's why I don't accept comments, because I'm just here to play, and you're welcome to watch. You're welcome to enjoy it. I mean, I hope you do. But I'm not here to have conversations about it. I'm not here to have entire the discussions about it, or to manage the toxicity of the toxicity of people on all the videos on my channel. You know how many videos I already have? I don't, but I can tell you. If you give me a moment, I can 100% tell you how many videos I have on my channel currently. I think I can see that here. Just give me one. Oh man, I keep clicking on the wrong thing. Okay, hang on. Doing this on my phone. How many videos do I have? With this one included, at the moment, 458. That's a lot of videos. And I can't manage all the comments under all of these videos. That's why I'm also working on my project, whatever that may be. I'm working on that in private. Because I'm not open to feedback. I'm not open to suggestions. I'm not open to, when can I see it? Who said I'm going to show you at all? I didn't. I'm making shit for me. Because honestly, with the options that I have, I'm currently not in any state to, after ending the 11-year-old contract, I'm not in any state to, you know, I mean, I play multiplayer games still, but it's not like I meet any friends or whatever through it. People act like that's the most common thing ever, to make friends through these online games. And then all of a sudden you have like a bunch of friends. That even if they do, it doesn't last. I mean, come on. Yeah, so I mean, I've played so many things, and do I ever get a friend request after that? Very rarely. Do I get any banter? I mean, sometimes. I have had a rare few times where the banter was positive. Will I ever see them again? Probably not. That's just the reality of it. So yeah, either these people are extremely lucky to have found so much through just online gaming, or they're just bragging and lying their ass off, because it's just not true. They just want to make it seem better than it is. I don't know, guys. But yeah, that is what it's like to be me. So that's why I do what I do, and I create what I do. Don't accept comments, don't engage with things. Ko-Fi still stands. If anyone donates anything, they can join a Discord. And we can have an actual heart-to-heart chat, an actual more direct chat than me having to moderate, you know, me having to moderate almost 460 videos worth of content, which I'm not going to do. Community posts on YouTube, yeah, they exist. Currently, I don't have advanced features yet, so I will, and people cannot comment on it either. And even that would be a more, how you call it, a smaller scale, like the Discord, than, 460 videos worth of comment sections to sift through. I'm doing this partially because I want to, and partially because, well, to be frank, the other options kind of suck more. So, but yeah, if anyone else out there watches this and thinks, hey, this guy gets it, yeah, just remember you're not alone. Even if we never meet, you're not crazy. You're not too much. You're not a horrible person. You're not unwanted or incapable of being loved. You're just a very particular person who has integrity and who has a lot to give. And unfortunately, we're living in a world where less is more. And that's an unfortunate reality to live in. But just remember, you are not alone. And with that, I would like to end this video here. So, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for listening. I know this wasn't entertaining, but it needed to be said. I should go.